April 21. I'm sorry, it's April 21st, 2022. And I'm just watching GMA this morning, without going into like brands of messages or I don't know what. Again, there's some FCC. I see Biden at a table. He's got whatever in value range there. Then there's a thing with a camel. I call it that because my family estate's already been broken into and it gets confusing how to speak of this. My Title IX under U.S. policy has been violated. I haven't been able to get sustainable work or pay that's equal to what my level of flour should in this side of the water, in this big apple, in this empire state, in the state of New York, under those three important measuring tools, for whatever reason, that they exist. Somewhere in North America, somewhere in the USA. They're just envelopes. Normally they're supposed to be sealed. So I'm looking at this fountain, and there's no brand necessarily here, but the three circles being split and this water mist just coming up out of nowhere in the background, like someone blew a gasket. Ooh, that is not good when you are in an engineer's room and someone blows a gasket like that. That looks like lots of neglect and maintenance was not called in a timely fashion. And here we are at who's just in close proximity, but is playing with the family dog. So that's whatever on that. And then it goes into a different commercial. Caught my attention right away. I'm like, wow, that is really provocative and poignant, and I don't know if I'm supposed to watch it because it's geospatial or if I'm to look away because it's trying to dishonor my intelligence. It's the TV, I think somewhere in the parlor tricks they call it fair game. I don't particularly like that saying, the way that this is being run, but here we are.
Pressure. You're a target for chronic kidney disease.
Now, for me, with this gasket being blown at flower, belongs to a hummingbird, a 8 in the field without the 7 to look up to that she needs. This kind of reminds me of Big Apple, then Empire, then New York State, or vice versa. I'm not really sure. Then there's some layer of USA. I mean, they're rings. The rings inside of it's crop circles is what this reminds me of. It also reminds me of a labyrinth, a muse. And then it's not even just 2D or 1D. It's 3D, and then it's in quantified area. It moves. So it is not something easily relatable, palpable, obtainable, but yet it exists in someone else's collective consciousness. Some are more awake, some are cognitively dissident, some are put to sleep in some zombie-like format. I'm not quite sure. It's not been easy here. and then they use the word kidney, as in like the kids. There's a goat somewhere, whether he spells it G-O-E-T or G-O-A-T, je ne sais pas, I don't know, non so. But it says far, and it's the 11 for GA. I'm waiting in Zen.
Of what you do today. It's the
Now, they start off with this camel. I didn't make this commercial. It's just what they're throwing me at the whatever organized criminal unit that tries to appease the gods, I suppose, or whatever they do. And I have no idea. My Title IX's been affected in this us with the hummingbird that I really wanted to make proud. And it is really disgusting to have to speak to myself on this device because I do not look like the shape that I like to be when speaking to such whatever. But here we are. So there's a camel, then it pans out and there's 3 other animals I'm not going to label. But there are also shapes that I'm not going to give word to. I'm not going to word or label for Ecola, because I don't want cognition to have script or priority script. So what I'm more interested in, because there's layovers of the onion here, is the outside force and pressure that these animals are using and how the coils or the bands underneath are being compressed. I think that's in what's giving me like having problems breathing. It's what I've been trying to verbalize, but I'm not always able to. I don't know if I'm hitting somebody's ear pin and I'm getting to the correct level of that they understand me or they get me, and then that they actually care enough to make sure that my breathing gets rectified.
AstraZeneca may be able to help.
So here on a whatever, I mean, I can't even say qubit because it's not, it's some other, I don't have words for it.
All my friends.
But underneath here, the way the bands are changing reminds me of when Lee Goldberg, or who's my other favorite? There is another guy. I can't think of his name. Not the Sam Champion guy. The other, Lonnie Quinn. That guy. When they do the sometimes I think the air mass or something, they have like these squigglies, which I'm never quite sure on a one-dimensional, is that to represent topography on a vertical horizon, or is that on a horizontal flying plane? It's confusing at the chair. Trying to figure this out. But, I mean, if I was down here on importance, just walking on ground control for Mother Earth, and I was on the Earth ship down this way, and there was some outside force, like, I don't know, space station level, and this was the atmosphere between my ground control and space station, and they did something along these lines, I would definitely feel it on mothership, ground, earth. And it would definitely impede on my cellular respiration and my cellular ability to maintain Ashton holds herself and how she walks. And I so miss having that ability to hold my shoulders back, my spine and upright, and be able to breathe and feel like a fine-tuned machine as you walk. I am so impressed by the fact that she's able to maintain, even though we're technically somewhere on the same Earth ship.
Sleep on a purple mattress now. It's the
Now this is interesting because here we are in the three differences, but also with what's going on with pressure changes just below the surface. And then this range. I mean, but right here, there's even this jagged edge. That's a problem.
the only mattress good for everybody. The grid flexes where you.
I thought that was interesting when it was turned on its whatever. Its displacement down in this range is a real problem. And then I even see there's like a fingerprint just behind this image. When I go up real close, it looks like my image has a fingerprint. I see the line differentials.
You need it, and it's got instant response for it.
And then it's like each one of these generational changes, oh my gosh, they make their own problem for whatever's down here. It feels it for sure. With all of these special projects, just somebody sleeping and we think to expect this, and oh, how many great ideas did they have at the whose kids are they? Oh my, they sure do make an impression. We're just walking Earth's ship below. Like, don't mind us. It's getting hard to breathe and to maintain body functionality and physiology.
Undisturbed sleep. It's soft to cushion.
I mean, like, this disturbance is disturbing to have a visualization with the way that the elephant's taking up the mattress.
Where you need it, and firm to support.
Oh, they even have a dragon that turns over. My goodness. Look at how that changes on. I mean, like, again, in medical analogous to here would be the I bands, the Z bands, and the myomere, myomere. Then there's other bands within it, but that's enough to get me through this I don't want to talk about it conversation, and I don't really have much of a choice because I'm down here and I feel like one blade of grass, that I'm not even a blade, I'm more of a blast of grass that should be kept as a flower, but somehow the hummingbirds just been kept away by meadows elsewhere, I suppose. I don't even know. It's really difficult because I'm like blasts of grass and some weed growing that I don't even recognize at gardening. Then there's the professional blades of grass that go to work every day, but I see them on TV sometimes. But they're so few and far between. I don't have access. And even if I did, they're in their oneness, in their onus, like their strength in numbers, I wouldn't know what to say. Like, I don't even know the words. Like, where do I even begin on what I need? I mean, the most abstract hummingbird, like in New York, I'm pretty sure there was a rumor going around about the birds and the bees, and I had no idea what that meant. I just know that it was adult talk, and It was just birds and bees. What it actually translated to, I have no idea. But on my calendar that I just found for housekeeping, to check that with the Sons of Italy and the USA, America the Beautiful, on days on the calendar and holidays, there's this month in April, there's tulips and hummingbirds.
Important to keep your spine aligned, thanks to Purple's grid. Now I can finally sleep on my back. To learn more, go to purple.com.
Secondhand smoke cause
Sleeping on one's back. Wow, it's just... I wonder how they, at this level, exploit the next fact. They bring up the fact that Louisiana is 49 out of 50 in environmental whatever, in union confidence. Wow. It is amazing what exploitation is able to do.
Ecological issues at the same time, recycling glass and making much-needed sand for the New Orleans coastal community. Louisiana recently ranked as one of the least environmentally friendly states, but with a...
Least environmentally friendly states. Now this is interesting. At my blades of grass that are in a meadow that knows at least that there's a flower and a hummingbird somewhere for some greater purpose. And then that there's some bald spots coming on the meadow, and now it's starting to turn over and some weeds are growing. And then our job becomes more difficult to stay above board and to stay on one page and to stay solid in unit and effort, as well as safe. Safety is a big concern and a big feature that I worry about. Here it says union, justice, confidence. And Louisiana, they're putting up, and it looks like it's not as realistic as the Italian boot. It just isn't. But it's what North America has. The closest thing to a ankle in a boot. If you're a number 7, this is perfectly fine.
With the help of their neighbors, these entrepreneurs are hoping to change that. Take a look.
Here's a different section of the news. This one is this whatever. This is the person, and then former President Bill Clinton comes on speaking about carbon inside New York City and the Empire State Building, because there's actually a momentous building inside New York City, inside the Big Apple, that the souvenir shop knows about, that then was put on for the Empire State. I don't know, they licensed it with the permission of I don't know whom at some point for our license plates.
guide for builders of commercial buildings to reduce a site's carbon emissions.
How the Empire State Building and now all the related buildings achieved the savings they achieved, how many jobs were created, how much did power bills go down, how much benefit did ordinary people get. Now you got it in one place and nobody has an excuse anymore.
Former President Clinton, Mayor Adams, Governor Hochul all announcing the release of the Empire Building Playbook, a guide to low-carbon retrofits. Governor Hochul says if all buildings in the city follow the playbook, it will have an economic impact of $20 billion and will create 100,000 jobs. It will also help the city hit its goal of reducing its carbon footprint by 80% by 2030. That's the news for now. Thanks for joining us. We'll have much more on First at 4.
I have no idea what. There are certain key points in what he said that are important for my purpose of documenting things, but as far as what's in this playbook, with the field being so interloper in an alopecia kind of a way for area or areata and foundation, interloper with some CIA thing. Again, it says it in alopecia. They eloped. My father used to say, I can't elope without a girl. Yeah, something like that. So that gets real confusing. He also used to say, if I'd ask for a tissue, if my nose was running, because I had bad allergies as a kid, he said, tissue, I don't even know you. I'm like, right, those are going to come in really nifty or handy one day, Dad. I sure hope so. So here we are. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.